Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I love this moment. I love this moment because in this moment, it's still the week. And I know that something is going to change in the course of time that we share together. And it hasn't happened, I mean, maybe for some of us. We've schmoozed, it feels like Shabbat, but something I think is going to change as we move forward. And I think actually sometimes going to shul is a little bit like going to the gym or exercising. You know, it can be helpful to have kind of a gym buddy that you go with, someone you go to shul with, right? I don't know if anybody has that kind of, calling. Yep, I'm looking at some gym shul buddies, shul partners, right? And it's also something that we do because it enriches us. It takes us from the place that we are in a certain moment, and it lifts us up. It helps us feel a little bit different. It nurtures not our bodies, but our souls. And so, after this service, I can almost promise it's going to feel a little bit different. But for right now, let's start just by preparing to be in this holiday, to stop. And so this is also a great time if you are thinking about those last emails, those last text messages, to just let them be. Because you are right now where you need to be. It's an opportunity just to stop, to set the world aside for a little bit of time. Just take a breath. Now, as a part of that breath, as we move forward in our service, we'll have some opportunities to celebrate some sacred moments, because anytime we step back, the things that we're especially appreciative of in our life, they become a little bit brighter. But for now, I want to let us just lend ourselves over to this evening. Let ourselves have this holiday of Shabbat, this day. And so in just a moment, I'm going to invite us to sing together. But before we do that, I want to offer just a special welcome and thank you to, of course, to David York, who is such an important part of this team. And David, it is such a joy for me not only to be able to share in the leadership of this, but even just to share Shabbat with you. When you walked in and we were just chatting, even at the door, I thought, feeling like Shabbat, it's good to be with you. And I should mention also that you'll note that we have two music stands, but there's only one person standing up here. Cantor Cooper this evening is actually at Bat Yam. Cantor Waltzman, who is a great friend also not only of Cantor Cooper's, but of our congregation as well, is being installed this evening. And so she is honored to be a part of that celebration. So what that means is that we are celebrating with our wider Jewish community, and it also means that I'm going to need a little bit of help for singing. So when we're singing together, I'd really jump in so that we all are singing together. I also want to say a special Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Daniel Smith, who is going to be accompanying, offering some melodies and pieces to lift up our prayer this evening as well. Well, I want to start with a nigun. A nigun, I think, is a really great way to start a Shabbat service because, quite simply, it doesn't have any words. It's just an opportunity to sing. So this is where I get to say, you already know the words to this prayer. It's an opportunity for us to just sing, just be in this moment together. If you know the melody, I invite you to sing along with me. If you don't, it repeats. You'll get it. It goes like this. Ya lai 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 ya lai la lai ya lai la lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai la lai ya lai la lai 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 lai. It goes just like that. Ya lai lai lai. It sounds beautiful. Lai lai la lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai. Yai, lai, la, lai, 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 lai. There's a second part. It goes like this. Yai, lai, ya, lai, 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 yai, lai, la, lai. Ya, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Ya, lai, 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 yai, lai, la, lai. Yai, lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Ya, lai, 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 yai, lai, la, lai. Yai, lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Ya, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, la, lai. Yai, lai, la, lai, 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 lai. I imagine for all of us, we're feeling our heartbeat, maybe our blood pressure, a little bit lower than it was. And that's what this is for. This is an opportunity to breathe a little bit, to rest a little bit. And also, this holiday of Shabbat, it's also for fun. It's for us to be able to really share in a sweet and fun moment. And so I want to invite us to turn to the words in our prayer books. On page 19, you'll see the words Lechuna Ranana. For hundreds, if not thousands of years, members of our community have said, listen, this holiday is beautiful, and it seems to come on its own, but there are certain things that, well, maybe speed it up a little bit and help it come to our day. And one of them, quite simply, is having the opportunity to join together in singing. So Lechuna Ranana, literally, let us sing together. Page 19. Lechuna Ranana, yai lai 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 lai, na Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, na Ria, yai lai 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 lai, na Tzor Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. Let us sing out to God, maker of all, pure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechuna Ranana, yai lai 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 lai, Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Naria, yai lai 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 lai, Tzor Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. And for all of God's wonders and all of God's light, we rejoice. Let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechuna Ranana, yai lai 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 lai, L'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Naria, yai lai 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 lai, Tzor Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. We are part of an ever-growing tradition, one that each and every generation and each and every year finds new voice. And so, the next prayer that we'll share together is a prayer that's new for the Jewish community, which means it's only a few hundred years old. And it's part of a tradition that continues to add and grow, find new expressions. Not yet but when we get to the final verse of our prayer, I'm going to invite us to rise and to turn to the door through which we entered our sanctuary, welcoming Shabbat as if she were here on her wedding day to share this evening with us. For now, I'd like to invite us to turn to the words on page 20 of our prayer books. Page 20. Let's sing together. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el hamyuchan. Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem ultiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumi uri. Uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alaych nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam besimcha u'v'tzochola toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. Well, as this is a reminder for us of what hope can bring, what peace might look like in our world, this Shabbat and every Shabbat, we take a moment to stop and think of the pain of those in Israel and in the Middle East and hold a hope for healing and for peace. And so in just a moment, when we light our Shabbat candles, you'll notice that the candles don't look the same as they usually do, and that is because this time is not the same as it usually is. Our blue candle is a call to return those who are held hostage home, and a call for peace in that region. And so I offer this prayer. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessing for the state of Israel, for all of its inhabitants. Source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land. Ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them, guide them. Holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your path so that they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening. Freer of the captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people while also holding the humanity and the dignity of the Palestinian people. As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us your shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. Together we say, Amen. Well, as we hold this hope, we remind ourselves of the light that comes from it and the light of each new celebration, each new generation in our community. And so it's my absolute joy to call up Ava and her family to light our Shabbat candles this evening as we begin this day of Shabbat and we begin the day of Ava's bat mitzvah.
I said that to Cantor earlier. It started smoking.
We say this is the hardest part of the bat mitzvah.
Her biggest fear of the whole weekend. Not being able to put your finger on it.
It's okay, you got it.
Finger on where? You want help, Zach? Light it?
Then hand it to her. Oh my goodness.
What are we doing? We're not having that.
They have it. They do it every week.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little broke.
Oh, shucks.
Rabbi, do you want to do
I'll
it?
get it.
I told Cantor earlier that it was going to break.
to do it.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay. I'll do candle first. Quick. It's going to go out.
It's all right.
I'm not good at lighting candles.
Hold my hand. I knew you were going to do that.
It's okay.
That's my favorite part. There's a new lighter down here.
Why would you do that?
Because that's my favorite
I'm going to light the whole shul on fire now.
Whoops.
So let's try this again. I can't believe it.
No, I'm not gonna light it.
I got it.
Yep, you got this.
I can't believe you did that. No. We need longer wicks.
Okay, I won't. I promise.
Next time, just shake it.
Oh, I like the glow better.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav b'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We'll have the opportunity to be with Ava in just a little bit as well, but this is also a reminder to each and every one of us, perhaps after our service, to go up to Ava to offer a mazel tov as she begins this day. Well, we continue now with our service, celebrating another adult in it and as one community with the words of Baruch Hu. And so I'd like to invite us to turn to page 28 of our prayer books, page 28, and let's rise together in body or in spirit. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Ba lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvidvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmeroteim b'rakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uben layla, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamariv Harabim. We continue on the next page, giving thanks for a love that reaches beyond the bounds of any two people, a love that is felt in community, and a love that is felt from something greater. We continue on page 32. Ahavat olam be'Yisrael Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, ufkumenu na'asiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayim ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. Ahavadcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. would like to invite up to help us as we sing the Shema prayer together, a symbol of this love passed down from one generation to the next. Our Shema, I'd like to invite up Ava to help us lead. We'll sing and offer our prayer together on page 34. Shema Yisrael. Please be seated. Whenever you're ready.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם. אמן.
We continue now singing out the words sung so many years ago, perhaps the very first song, the very first prayer of our community sung together as one, the Micha Mocha, page 40. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai la lai. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai. Ya lai la lai lai, ya la lai la lai la lai, ya la lai lai, ya la lai lai lai. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilot osei fele, Nora tehilot osei fele. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, Bokei ayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Ze Elianu ve'amru, Ze Elianu ve'ameru. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai la lai. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Let there be love and understanding among us. Peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. God, help us to walk with one another and well, to live with hope in our hearts, eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. 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 Well, there is a very particular and distinct sweetness that comes from being in community. And there is a particular and distinct sweetness when we find the person that we love. And we know that that love is held between the two of us, perhaps the brightest of light, the brightest of stars. And that warmth and that light, well, it lives within the context of those around us as well. I'm hearing some of that sweetness as well. And so, we have a great cause for celebration in our community. A sweetness to celebrate, a warmth and light to hold together and dear. And so I want to invite Shania and Jeff on up to our bima here as they receive a bit of blessing. I'm going to invite all of us in just a moment to turn to the words that are on page 263 of our prayer books. And I'd like to invite us, please, to rise. Jeff and Shania, it is such a sweetness and joy and goodness to be able to celebrate and share this wonderful light with the two of you. Please know that as you share that love with one another, that light and that goodness, that you have a whole group of people who are celebrating with you, holding that light and holding that sweetness as well. This blessing that we offer together, this is one of many ways that we want to say that we are so excited and thrilled that the two of you have found love with one another and that the two of you are a part of this community. Together, source of laughter and gladness, let your presence accompany these loving companions, Pour love over them. Grant them growth, each alone and together. May health and devotion, laughter and understanding abound for them. May they have strength to share life's sorrows. May their love deepen and flower. Open their hearts to one another. And may their hands be open to family, friends, to our people, Israel, to all humanity. Misha Berach, Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel, Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. May God, who has blessed our ancestors in every generation, bless this couple. Guide them on their life's journey. May they continue to build together a home of praise, a secure and safe and loving refuge. May there be tenderness between them, together in joy and in sorrow. And may their love continue to inspire each and every one of us, a community all the better for having them in it. Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova. Yehelanu, 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 Uvechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Uvechol Yisrael. Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, and Simen Tova, Yehelanu. Shania and Jeff, may the sweetness that is showered upon you today be a reminder and a symbol of the sweetness and joy that we all feel for you. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Well, we are going to need a little bit of help. If we have any people young in body or in spirit, come on up. I'm looking at, oh, I was going to look at Hattie. Yeah, Ava, come on up. Yeah. A bit of, yeah, come on up. Let's get all this sweetness picked up. Let's capture this sweetness. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Zachary. All right. Jessa is ready. All right, come on up, Jessa. Well done, you guys. All right. Well, now that we have some sugar, let's continue with the shamru, an opportunity to move, to hold on to the freilich, to the sweetness, to the celebration of this Shabbat. We continue on page 44. Let's sing together. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam. Oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Bishamrum, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat, Ledorotam berit olam. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments that have gone by. And so, yes, the Exodus lasted a moment, but this moment endured forever. For our community, what happened once upon a time happens all of the time. I invite us to turn to page 46 of our prayer books and to please rise in body or in spirit. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Abotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei v'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Mogen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimi, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye ha'akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom, Yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el ha'kadosh. We continue silently, either using words on the pages to follow or other words we might find in our hearts. We'll join together again on page 62. When you've completed your tefillah, your prayer, you may be seated. Oh, say shalom. Shalom bimroma. Hu yase. Hu yase shalom. Oh, say shalom. Shalom bimroma. Hu yase. Hu yase shalom. I can remember the first album that I had from this particular guitar player. You knew I'd be talking about guitar players, I'm sure. And this particular guitar player, I'd kind of heard the name before, and it was one of those compilation albums. On the cover was a black and white photo of him sitting there playing guitar, and of course, all the kids can close their ears, he had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, right? Cool as can be. I actually, many, many years later, met someone who actually got to meet him in the short days before he had passed away, which wasn't just an incredible thing as someone who I was so excited to have the opportunity to listen to, but such a foundational player in the world of jazz guitar. Django Reinhardt was a master of the instrument. He, living out in France, and legends are heaped on legends of how he first learned to play, was not only a master of the instrument, but a foundational person of the art, of the music that was to come after him. Now, there are kind of mythic beginnings of Django Reinhardt, and at the same time, there are clear lines between Django Reinhardt and the players that came to follow him. In fact, the story goes that Charlie Christian, who is the forebearer of all electric guitar players, any electric guitar player that you know today, they were listening to Charlie Christian in those early days. You can trace that lineage to him. The very first days he ever performed out, he would get up on stage, he would pull out his guitar, and he would play a Django Reinhardt solo note for note, and then sit down. And it was a very peculiar thing because you would think that, especially in the world of jazz, that there'd be all kinds of improvisation, all kinds of growth, and things like that. But no, he would stand there, and he would play the entire thing note for note, then he would sit down. But by the time Charlie Christian was being recorded, he sounded nothing at all like Django Reinhardt. Now, fast forward to many, many years later, when I picked up my guitar with the opportunity to learn, to try and grow, and I sat down and I learned some Django Reinhardt solos. Now, for anyone who knows about Django Reinhardt, he had this thing that happened to his hand, and so he actually played all of his solos with 2 fingers rather than 4. And I assure you that for all of us guitar players that play with 4 fingers, it is still hard to follow all of the things that he played just with those 2 fingers. But I would get up and I would play a solo, and I was so worried that I would play not my own style, but something that was identical to Django Reinhardt. At what point was I going to be able to grow my own style of playing music? Many years ago, I worked in a community very closely with a colleague who was another rabbi. And I always figured that our styles, we would kind of share ideas with one another and kind of go back and forth. And I just figured that we were seen as kind of two steps of the same pace, right? And I will never forget sitting with a group who worked at the synagogue. And I was talking to them about, well, of course, our styles are so similar. We work so closely together. We even honestly looked a little bit similar. People would get us mixed up, and all the time they would have a conversation with me thinking that they were finishing a conversation with the other rabbi. And one after the other person insisted that we actually, even though we might share notes, even though we might study together, even though we might be leading services together, that we were nothing alike. And I thought of that this week as we read in our Torah portion, that the things that come to us were meant to be reminded. Well, they come to us beyond our own control. They don't come directly from us. We, instead, are an instrument for the myriad of ways that this world changes us, and a prism for that same music or light to come into the world. And so as I think about the way that we receive things from the people who have come before us, as I think about us as individuals and the way that we might move forward with a gift or something that we learned from a recording, from a solo, standing on a stage, or simply reading a book, or having a sibling who stood in front of us and lived in a certain way, and we walk in that perhaps footsteps or shadow, that I want to remind each and every one of us of this. Miles Davis once said, "Do not fear mistakes, because there are none." I'd like to add to that, do not fear imitation. Quite simply, you can't. Shabbat shalom. Well, I'd like to invite us now to take a moment to find strength with being with one another, turn our thoughts to those members of our community who are in need of healing, in need of strength. And so, as we came into our sanctuary, you would have received a handout that has the names of the members of our community who are in need of that healing. And we are very deliberate at Temple Israel of putting the names of the members of our community on that sheet so that we can be reminded to reach out to one another. There are many ways that we call for healing as a community, many different ways that we find that strength, and one of them is perhaps with a phone call, an email, a text message. Yes, you can send a pastoral, a loving, a healing text message to one another. And so I invite us to take a look at this list, see if there's someone on this list that we haven't talked to in a while, perhaps we didn't know was in need of that strength, of that healing, and to allow this moment, this prayer, to be a call to send out that bit of light, that bit of healing. For those of us who are joining online, I invite you to share the names of those that you're thinking of in the chat at this time. And I want to especially invite us to turn our hearts and thoughts to those members of our community who have more recently come onto our Misha Berach list. So our hearts are with Evan Newman, Janet Pottebaum, Mary Guzetta, Nancy Hickey, Leslie Montejero, Rena Rothstein, Wayne Tennille, and Rosie Thacker. Additionally, it's our custom here at Temple Israel that if you're thinking of someone in particular this Shabbat, that you might rise so that we can call on you to share that name aloud. We can all hold that person in our hearts. As my eyes meet yours, I invite you to share their name. I'd like to invite us to turn together to the words on page 253. Page 253. Let's sing together. Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach ha'imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We continue on page 282. Page 282 on the bottom. Please rise in body or in spirit. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, ushemo, ushemo, ushemo echad. Please be seated. Each and every Shabbat, we take a moment to give thanks for the lives of those who have been a part of our own and who are no longer with us because they have died. Each and every time we read in our service for Shabbat about an ahavat olam, a love that is boundless, and I, for one, am grateful that when we have lost someone near to us, that while they may not be able to be with us, that their love remains. And so we take a moment this evening to give thanks for that love, to give thanks for the way that our lives have been changed and made better by those who have come before us. I'd like to invite us to turn our hearts to those members of our community who are in a period of Shiva and Shloshim, observing the 7 and 30 days after the death of someone near to them. And so together, as we remember Ronald Hartman, our hearts are with Sylvia and Carl and Elise, Bruce and Julie, Greg and Sharon, Glenn and Jen, Shelby, Sarah and Stuart, Jordan, Erica, Brian, Isaac, Daniel, Clementine and Svi, and Asher. And as we remember Anita Horowitz, our hearts are with Bobby and Sandy. This Shabbat, we also mark the yard site, the anniversary of the death of Harry Blumberg, Harvey Balakovsky, David Blumberg, Bill Coleman, Selma Cooperman, Harry Corman, Harlan Dabrowski, Leonard Epstein, Mark Fagan, Leon Feldman, Bert Feldman, David Flitt, Irving Frank, Frank Garabedian, Glenn Gotts, Charles Hale, Alice Honigman, Janet Kenner, Karen Korbatsky, Robert Meehan, Nathan Meltzer, Bella Milks, Ruth Mitnick, Margaret Norberg, Murray Perkel, David Raslovich, Marion Rayer, Eric Romaine, Edward Saslow, Herbert Shapiro, Marvin Sokol, Louis Warshaw, and Helen Zelnick. If you are here in our sanctuary thinking of someone in particular on this Shabbat, I'd like to invite you to rise. It's our custom to invite you to share their name as my eyes meet yours. I'd like to invite us now to turn together to the words on page 294. Page 294, and to rise together and as one. Yitgadal, v'yitgadash shemeraba, v'alma divarach chirute, v'almlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'vchaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Omei Olmaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei D'Kudisha Barichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbachata V'nechemata Damiran V'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Alenu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom Bimramav, Hu Yasei Shalom, Alinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru. Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of those near to us always be a source of blessing. I invite us together to say, Amen. I'd like to invite up a member of our board of directors, Kathy Krita, to offer some announcements, some of the goings on here at Temple Israel, and the rest of the congregation, please be seated.
Good evening. Mazel tov. I couldn't light a match if my soul depended on it. They will tell me I'm afraid of fire. I thought they should have a little candle lighter up there. So you've started your B'nai Mitzvah with great joy for all who are going to celebrate it with you. Okay, Jeffrey and Shania, I've known Jeffrey before he was Jeffrey. So my heart is filled with joy for you guys, and I'm looking forward to more celebrations with you, and Mazel Tov. They told me to be funny, but I couldn't be funny for that. Tomorrow morning, join Rabbi Fox. He happens to be a good guy. And by the way, Rabbi, you always thank the musicians and everything but service, but I think all of us would like to thank you to the warmth and the sense of community you bring to us. But you can study Torah with him, which will be more complicated. It begins at 8:45, and if you've studied before, you can come. If you've never studied, you can come and join them in Alban Hall, which is that away. Let's see. Oh, coming up Friday, August 30th, is our Shabbat in the Park. You'll meet at Wardlow Park, which happens to be on Wardlow Road. So you should be able to find it fairly easily. If you have children or grandchildren or families who are thinking about joining our Torah Center, you can come a little bit early for that and meet with Sharon, our Director of Engagement and, Director of Education and Community Engagement, and some of our teachers who are here tonight, and learn more about that. And if you have grandchildren that you're hoping will come along with their families, bring them too. And thanks to my friend Debbie, I have a little ditty for you from the membership committee. Join us for game night on the 6th of September. This is a date you need to remember. Play board games and card games. You'll have a great night with food, family, and friends. Such a great sight. Thank you, Debbie. There will be games for young children, games for children of the heart, as you mentioned, Rabbi, adult games, family games, children's games. There's no cost. Just please RSVP, because we're going to provide a light meal since it will be a family service, and we don't want you starving afterwards. I think there's more. Oh, and if you are a new member or you're someone who's thinking about becoming a member, you can talk to anyone in the congregation, of course, but Jay, Randy, and Robin, and myself are on the membership committee, and we are happy to talk with you after services or at any time. My phone number's in the bulletin, they tell me. So thank you, Jay, Randy, and Robin. Okay, we have many classes and programs that meet weekly, so instead of them reading them all to you as we used to, you can look in your bulletin and they will be there, and if you have any questions, you can call the office. I think that's, oh no, I forgot something very important. On Sundays at 10 o'clock, many of us have participated in, and we encourage you to participate in, something that's called Run for Their Lives. All over the world, literally, Brazil, they tell me, Argentina, Canada, all through Europe, people are taking a 18-minute walk for Chai, for life, to encourage that we let the hostages go now. It is not a political statement of any sort. It carries no other ideology. Its main purpose is only to encourage and hope for the return of the hostages safely. It's every Sunday at 10 o'clock at Bayshore and Ocean. I hope you don't have to come this Sunday. I hope you don't have to come any more Sundays. So I hope that this will be resolved soon. But please come, wear red. There's actually shirts I was going to pull over, but I didn't. So again, that's Sundays at 10 o'clock at Bayshore and Ocean Boulevard, which is right where the bike path begins. And now I think I'm done. Did I forget anything?
Shakach. Well, in just a moment, we're going to join together outside for Kiddush and Motzi, and thank you to the Gordon family and to the Bambaji family for sponsoring our oneg this evening, for bringing this sweetness. Literally, oneg is the word for sweetness. And there are all kinds of discussions in the rabbinic literature about the way that we fulfill certain mitzvot, certain things that come to us from the Torah. And so, there are certain things where you say, like, check, you're done. But very specifically, it says that you can never finish fulfilling the mitzvah of adding a bit more sweetness to your Shabbat holiday. So join us for adding a little bit more sweetness to this evening, this oneg as well. We are going to conclude with Oseh Shalom, and we have a custom at Temple Israel of you know, if you are sitting by yourself, I'm seeing, I won't totally out a person whose name rhymes with J. But if you are finding yourself sitting by yourself, and for those who choose, I invite us to place an arm around the shoulders of the person next to you. Let's sing together the words, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Bimroma Uyaseh Shalom Alein Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael 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 Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.